Tom Bryant, by the way. This is your ZOLL R-Series defibrillator. And you notice one of the things that you see, first thing, is a green check in the window. What that means is that the battery is good, that there's a one-step electrode. Because you can go several ways with this. This is the best way. What makes this good, for a lot of reasons, is it has three electrodes embedded. If you align, and you'll see that with the simulation here, when you open this up, there'll be where you think of your compression puck, the intersection of navel line, nipple line. If you put that right there, plant, and then on the back, put this. The beauty of the one-step CPR pad, and they're looking at the possibility of getting paddles. This is the best way because it allows you to do all three functions with one pad. You can obviously defibrillate through this pad. There's a chip inside the pad that will measure the depth of your compressions. So if you're not doing 2 inches, it will tell you push harder. You've probably been around long, I don't know, you look pretty young to me, but if you've been around long enough, you know it used to be 1.5 inches, now it's 2 inches. So this will measure those compressions and give you feedback on that. If you then immediately need to go to pacing, you can keep the same electrode on. You have to substitute anything else and go to pacing, or if you just want to monitor. So we have set this up, just so you know, it does an automatic check every night at midnight. We can change the time if you want to. You don't have to do a test. If you want to, you can. But to me, it's a waste of time and paper. But if you want to do that, you can, and I'll show you how to do a manual test. But just know when you come in and you see the green check in the window, and you see that there's no printed report here, it got through the evening with its manual check, like it did last night, without any issues. Everything's ready to go. So again, this will allow you to do 3-lead EKG monitoring through these 3 electrodes if you want to. If you want, at some point in time, you take the single patient use pad off and you want to then just go to monitoring, you can pull out this cable in the back and you have a 3-lead EKG here, and you can just simply pull that out and then push the EKG cable in here if you wanted to monitor without the pad. The beauty of the pad is you don't have to change anything out, and you can just simply monitor through the pad. But if you decide that you want to take the pad off and just monitor through your 3-lead EKG, you can do that through this. So if I were to do a self-check on it, I want to go to defib. I want to bring the joules, J-O-U-L-E-S, down to 30. I want to charge. Then I've got a manual check. But again, you don't have to do that. I say that you don't have to do it. If you have policies and procedures that say we have to do it, then this is the way to do it. Just know that if you have to go back and prove that it passed inspection, there's internal memory on those sorts of things, so you could do that. Okay. Along the bottom here, you see the soft keys. Whatever topic you see above each key is what it will do at that point in time. And then obviously if you go to monitoring, you simply go here. If you go to pacing, you go here. So, and I'll show you a little bit over there. So if you want to change any of the configurations, I need to let it get off defib for a second because it might think it needs to go to defib. So right now, again, we have it set up to do the check at midnight. If you want to change that, or if you want to say print every time, you could do that. The way we have it set up right now is print only if fail. So if you walk in, you see the green check, just like you did this morning, and you don't see a printed report, it did its manual check and everything was fine. So if you want to change any configuration on it, it's a little bit awkward. The 2 soft keys to the far left and the far right, I'm going to hold those down. and then turn on to defib. Still in defib mode. I'll show you what that's like on mine. But and your password is very complicated. 000000. You'll see a bunch of zero. You just 00 every time. So that's your password. And that enables you to change any configuration that you want. I don't imagine that you would need to do that, but again, if you want to say, print my reports every time, is there a policy that you know of?
So we have to check our defib machine every single morning, and we have to have a printed report to prove that.
Okay. Should we change your configuration to say print? Or did you want to do it yourself? And
yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing was I just wanted to make sure we could do it ourselves, just simply because we aren't sure what the timeline looks like, and I don't want it to keep printing the report from here on out, and then we're not here using.
Oh, I see. Yeah, good. Yeah. So it's gonna, while you'll start like May or something. Or
somewhere around May.
May. Okay. So this will check itself out every night, and you don't have to do anything, and then. If you want to start printing the reports in May, I can show you how to change the configuration to do that. Or you can do it's going to check itself out anyway, and if you want to do the manual check, you can. So, again, and this has an expiration date on the pad. This says, oh, by the way, I donated this. Jose has the part number for this. So this expires November 20th of 2020. And when it does, there's a chip in here, and you'll have a printed report. If on November 25th, 2020, you still have this connected, it will give you a report to say, change your electrode. Will it work? Probably, but you know how that goes. You don't want to have an expired electrode used for all sorts of legal purposes, even though it might be efficacious. So this stays connected, just like this. If you get the paddles, they'll be on the side. They're deciding whether they need that. If you want to say the nice thing about the paddles is, because these are single patient use, and you'll probably have more than one, just in case something happens. If you have the paddles, you can always do defibrillation anytime you want. And the paddles have underneath them, if you take the top off, it'll have a pediatric pad underneath it. So. And this, if you just go through analysis, it does the basic defibrillation starting at 120 joules. Second go around, if you have a shockable rhythm and shock is required, it bumps it up to 150. If a third shock is required, it'll bump it up to 200. It's just automated. However, you're all ALS, so if you want to drive and do that, you can do that. Okay. So again, and the paper, very easy to. Paper compartment is just up here, and you just drop it in with the magnetic strip down on this side and close the door, and you're good to go. There are other pads. Matter of fact, you bought a different type of pad, this one-step basic, which is fine, but you can't do the defibrillation. Excuse me, you can do defibrillation only. You can't do the monitoring or the pacing through this pad. Okay. So this is a better. It's a more complete pad. Okay. This one is limited in function. This does all three things. So again, you have these three embedded electrodes in here that allow you to do everything you need to do. All right.
Are there different pads for pediatric?
There are, and they're on order. Okay. So it will recognize a PD pad, and it will deliver joules at the reduced, instead of 120, it's like 55, 75, whatever. Right. So it'll do that automatically when it recognizes a PD pad. PD pads are up to age 8 or 70 pounds. Above that, it's going to be adult.